Hi, this is LJ Bothell from Microsoft Outlook 2013, and I'm going to show you the basics of how to create a basic task and a recurring task. So let's get started. Right now I'm in Microsoft Outlook in the email pane. In the email folder pane at the bottom, you see your email icon, your calendar icon, your contacts icon. Some of you may have it set a little bit wider so that you could then see the tasks icon. And if you don't have it set wide enough, that's okay. Usually you'll see these three little dots and you can click those and click tasks. Now we're starting with no tasks in here. The idea behind tasks in Outlook is that you're able to set up project information that has several steps and may have one or more people involved with it, and where you have a delay in time between when you want to get started on the work, when maybe you're going to have meetings about the work during the project, and then when the project is actually due. And you can set reminders for yourself. So I'm just going to set a couple of simple ones, and then your book will take you through some exercises. Right now in tasks, you can either look at tasks, which is indicating nothing, or you can look at the to-do list, which is often what I keep it as. Like your email area, you have basically the folder section for your tasks, you have the preview section, and then you can see the information about the specific task. And if you want more details, then you can click tasks in general. But let's create something first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a simple standalone task. I have a paper that I would like to create in January and February for my master's degree, and that paper is due at the end of February. So here's what I want to do. I've opened up, or basically set a new task, and I get the user interface within the user interface where I can add some basic information and set priorities and color coding and so on. So I'm going to set 4th course master's paper, and the due date is at the end of February. But here's I'm going to show you by doing this backwards, because this is the way I usually think. My due date is February 29th. I want to be done a full week in advance. So I'm going to set my due date there. But I haven't set a start date yet. And I'm currently working on something for my 3rd course, so I don't want to start this until my new quarter starts in January 4th. So I'm going to click up here, and I'm going to go and set my start date for this task on January 4th. Now, the good news is it's kept this information, but you want to keep a very close eye that if you were to do this backwards the way I did, that by setting a start date that for some reason your task manager doesn't actually adjust the due date. It can get a little tricky that way. Now, right now I have not started the work. I could set a status. It's in progress. It's completed. It's waiting on someone else. It's deferred for some reason. I could set the priority as normal, low, or high. It's a normal priority for me. And right now I can set any kind of completion. So if I've got work in progress, I could set it as 25%. I've done nothing on it. I'm the owner of this because I'm creating this. And I'd like to set a reminder for myself. So when a reminder comes due, I can play a sound, but I don't like a sound, so I'm going to hit OK. But what I would like to do is set a reminder on the Friday before my paper is due, say mid-afternoon. So if I get really busy that week, I get a reminder that I've got a few more things to tidy up that weekend so that I can submit my paper a week early. Now let's take a look at details. Details in here give me a chance to put a little bit more information in here. So if I was writing a chapter of a book that I'm a co-editor or a co-author on, I might note that I have a 2-month block to write the chapter and edit it and get it ready for submission. And I may be paid for part of the work I'm going to do based on the hours. And say I'm charging $300 an hour for this chapter as opposed to getting royalties or something. So in that particular case, I might guesstimate that I'm going to need 20 hours to fully research and write and edit this chapter, and I would type in total work. Actually, for this particular paper, I'm estimating my total work will be 14 hours. When I get finished, I may find I get it done in 15 hours or 12 hours. And if I were billing, such as for a chapter that I'm putting in a book that I'm going to get paid for, I might note that it's 14 hours times $300, and then I would make a note as to what company and so on. That's the only detail I'm going to put in here, so I'm not going to add anything else there. If I was actually working on a project with several people, and this was a task I needed someone else to complete, I could assign it to somebody else. I can categorize this task. I've actually created one for master's degree work already, so this is a purple color. I would like to follow up on this in a custom date, so what I'd like to do is follow up with, I have a reminder, so I'd like to actually follow up with an earlier reminder. So I'm going to do this, click OK, and then I'm going to make this, it's not private, it's not of high importance, it's not of low importance. So I'm going to say it's fine. There we are. It takes a moment for it to show up. So now if I click on this task, I can see some basics over here. It's not started, it's normal, there's nothing completed, I'm the owner of it. Follow up. Start by Monday, January 4th, due by the 22nd, but reminder, send a reminder on February 5th. Now let's take a look at the tasks view. So here I am in the tasks view, and I can cross it out when I'm finished with it. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm not done with it just yet, so I could do that. I could change the flagging on this to being finished or not. I could double click it and of course get in here, and then I could start making some notes to myself. Remember, there are 2 Monday holidays, so get extra work done then. So I'm doing that. Now, there are other things you could do up here, like I could forward this to myself in an email. I could forward information here to OneNote. We're not going to get into OneNote until the end of the quarter when I show you how you can use it with Outlook, but there are some things you could do here. Now I'm going to save and close again. So now I've got my task ready to go. Now let's go ahead and we go back to to-do list. Let's do a new task and make a basic recurring one. This one will be a report for boss. Boss, B-O-S-S. And what I would like is I need to do this once a month. I need to turn it in, say the middle of the month, say the second Wednesday of every month, so that it sums up information from the previous month for my boss. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to start this so that the first one will be the third Wednesday, and I would like to get started a week in advance of that. So if that's due the third Wednesday, I'm going to go ahead and start the second Monday. Nope, let's make sure that's in January, excuse me. So if that's for the 20th, and I want to start the second Monday. And it's currently not started, and once again I'm going to want a reminder. Now look what happened here. Even though I set this for the 11th, let's take a look. That's actually the 4th. So I want to make sure that's set for the... Goodness, I'm having some fun here. I want this to be January 20th, and there we go. You have to kind of take a quick look here. And again, I like to remind myself of things a little early. So it's due on the 20th. I'm going to remind myself on the 18th. And this defaults to 8 a.m. because Outlook is assuming you're in the workplace or the school place, and that you're probably checking your emails first thing in the morning when you start your day. So this is when the reminder will pop up. So even if you don't actually check in till 10 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon, the reminder will pop up. This is the earliest it will pop up. And I'm not going to add any specific details. I could go over here and categorize it, and I've got one set for reports already that I did earlier. I'm not going to do a follow-up, but this is important, so I'm going to make it a high priority. Then I'm going to save and close. Well, I actually want to make sure that I do this every month. Oops, sorry. So I don't want to have to reset this. I'm going to go up here, reopen it, and go to recurrence. And what I would like to do is have this recur monthly, and the recurrence is based on the starting date of the task, not the due date of it. I kind of wish it was based on the due date because that's when I want to make sure I'm hitting things by the third Wednesday. But if I try to base my task recurrence on the due date, it could kind of mess all sorts of things up. So I need to focus on it being the second Monday of every month. The second thing here is you could choose no end date, which I am going to choose because I'll have this responsibility until I don't. But if you were filling in for someone during a 3 or 4 month period, you could set it to end it after 3 or 4 occurrences. Or if you were doing this over the course of a year, you could end it at the end of the year. I'm going to leave it this way and then click OK. So now it starts the second Monday of every month, effective 1/11/2016. Save and close. So now I have my report for boss, and again I see the basics over here. If I go take a look at the tasks list, I could do this. Now when this is finished, I can click this and this will be done. But basically what I want to do is I want to take a look at the progress. So this is how you make adjustments. Let's pretend that for now we're actually at January 15th and I've already gotten some work done on this. So I can go in here on my tasks to help keep things organized and note that it's in progress and that I have about 80% of it done. And then I can save and close. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to take a look at what's going on here. I'm looking at the detailed view, but you notice here all I can see is the title, the due date, and the categories. I may or may not even care about the categories, but I would like to see what the percentage completed on something is. When I went into my report for boss, I set this to be 80%, but wouldn't it be nice to be able to see that on here? This is where you can go into your View tab, View Settings, choose Columns, and then you can make changes to your columns. So if I want to see the percent complete, I can click that. I could also get rid of the flag status. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. Well, actually it does, because I may change this to be more important. But what I don't need to see is the categories. So I'm going to click that and remove it and click OK. And then click OK again. Now see what happens. Here's the task. Here's the due date. I can move these over. Here's the complete. This is 80% complete, and this is 0% complete. And then here are the tags. So I can right click to mark this as complete. So if I want to do that, I can either do a custom thing or I can do mark complete. And when I mark it complete, this will cross itself out. I can go back here and say, whoops, that was a mistake. So I'm going to put no date on there. And then if I can also choose to complete something by clicking this little box just before the name of this title. So anyway, this gives you a little bit of information about very basic tasks. I hope it's helpful. Thanks very much.